What's going on, everybody? My name is Franco, and today we are hating. Today I'm going to be going over some of the running backs that I feel are the most overrated or overvalued, etc., at their position for this upcoming fantasy football season. Now, yesterday I did underrated, so today we're going to be flipping the scale a little bit, and if you disagree with me on anything or just want to yell at me, I understand. Please do so in the comments below. And if you'd like the content or anything else, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I'm going to try to be doing these for every single position, both underrated and overrated, as well as just going through video every single day if possible until the fantasy football season starts. So without further ado, let's start off controversial because we always have to. I don't think Austin Ekeler is going to be returning RB2 or running back 2 overall value this year. Now, do I think that he's going to be a top 5 back? Probably. At the very worst, I see him being like a top 8, just based especially in PPR on his pass catching ability and his overall just control of that very high powered Los Angeles offense. That being said, I don't think he'll return 20 touchdowns again. I think he's obviously due for a regression there, and I feel like they're going to split up the running back duties a lot more because Ekeler, quite frankly, doesn't have the full build to last as a bell cow running back, and that's not a knock on him. Not many running backs do. You have to be Derrick Henry, and even then, Derrick Henry gets a foot injury. It's just not a sustainable build anymore. The reason Ekeler is so high is because of his pass catching value, but I just don't see him returning the same running back 2 value overall that some people are suggesting him to be drafted as, especially when you compare him to the likes of McCaffrey or any of those other running backs in the top echelon of the tier up there. I just think he's not going to be the same as he was last year. Like I said, he'll still be a top 5 back, and if you get him in the first round, you're fine there. You have a running back position all set up, but I just don't see the upside. I think we already saw his ceiling. I don't think he's going to get much higher than last year, and I don't know if he's going to be able to reach that ceiling again. Moving on, we have Javonte Williams, and honestly, there's nobody on the middle ground on Javonte Williams. You either see him as being a future running back 1 for the next whatever years, or you don't think he's going to be a worthwhile running back 2. And I'm leaning towards the latter side a little bit. I think I know he's a better running back than Melvin Gordon. I know he's going to do well in that offense in Denver, but I don't think he's the 14th best running back you can draft in fantasy football this year. I just don't see a running back who's splitting carries with someone just as overall competent or just as good as football as Melvin Gordon is, because a lot of people try to knock him, but Gordon is still good. He's still got a little bit of explosiveness left in the tank. He's shifty, and he's gonna do a lot to take away from Javonte Williams. And last year, regardless, Williams got his snaps. He got his touches. He got his oh my God, I can't speak. He got his pass attempts. But I think that as long as Gordon's there, at least a few touchdowns are going to be vultured, and there's going to be a lot of drives where he doesn't even see the field. So maybe not this year. I don't see him being a top 10 running back, but if he starts to show that he's better than Gordon, and also Gordon's on a 1-year contract, if he really takes over this backfield, then when you start to see the signs, you could definitely trade for him or at least try to, but I don't see him being worthy of being drafted in the second rounds, as his ADP would indicate. Moving on to someone who's just about the same ranking as him, I have Nick Chubb, who actually one above him with a lower ADP, so you can figure that one out. But I definitely think Chubb is one of the better running backs in the game. That's not up for debate. The skill is there. The opportunity is there. Kareem Hunt is back this year, which is a little bit scary because he digs into his pass catching and overall just time on the field, similar to how Javonte Williams won't have the full boatload of the carries this year. What I'm more worried about is the quarterback situation. Obviously, we know the whole case with Deshaun Watson. We're not going to find out if he's suspended in another couple of weeks. But at the time of me recording this, Deshaun Watson's probably not playing for the year, which, obviously is better for the game better just for football in general. But, it's going to hurt Nick Chubb's chances quite a lot, just because offenses won't have to fear the passing game as much. There's no way they're going to get Baker Mayfield to play for them, so it's going to be Jacoby Brissett or someone even if they get Jimmy Garoppolo, it's not going to be as respected. He's not going to get as many opportunities both in the passing game and in the run game because they're going to load the box a lot more and just not give him the opportunities to shine. I could see him returning similar results in terms of yards and touchdowns, maybe a little bit fewer yards for a little bit more touchdowns, just given the situation and given the amount of touches he'll get. But at this value, I could see a couple running backs I would take over him. I still see him being a top 16 to 18 running back. Maybe 13's a little high. And it's to no fault of his own. It's Cleveland's fault. They shouldn't have done that trade. As a Texans fan, I'm happy with the trade. Thanks for the 3 first-round picks, idiots. But, yeah, for Nick Chubb, not great. Cam Akers is one that I'm a little bit on the fence about. I'm currently leaning on the side of undervaluing him, and I know it's mostly because of the injury, which people will say, oh, didn't you literally just say Saquon is a underrated running back. Did he have an injury? And are you a hypocrite? Well, yes, I am a hypocrite. But by the same token, we've seen Saquon's peak, and his peak is that he's a running back one, top 5. He's, the guy. With Cam Akers, I haven't seen that peak prior, and I don't think he'll be able to return to even the level he was, given his injuries. And it was an Achilles injury. Those are notoriously difficult for running backs to come back from. He played a little bit last year in the playoffs, wasn't inspiring at all, and I know that's not a lot to go on, obviously, but just the injury situation is a bit rough for me, especially taking him in the late second, early third rounds. I just don't see the upside being so high. That's a position where if you're taking your second running back there, it might not be as good as taking a wide receiver in that range or a high-end quarterback. And I just really don't think he's the 18th best running back. There's a lot of ones below him ranking-wise that I have. Obviously, the opportunity is there. Obviously, he's going to be the lead back of that team given injuries, but there's a lot of competent running backs on that team as well. They have Darrell Henderson there too. So it's just not something I feel super confident in. If you give me Cam Akers in the 4th, 5th round, I'm hopping all over that any day. But pause. But just overall, I don't really see the appeal of him taking in the 3rd round. One more I have on this list as well is Antonio Gibson, and this is nothing new. Every fantasy football analyst this year will tell you Antonio Gibson is going to be a bust, which I hate to agree with the norm here, but Washington isn't giving me a reason to think otherwise. They refuse to come out and publicly say that Antonio Gibson's their running back. They say things about a committee. They have J.D. McKissick. He flipped around. I think he's with them still. I'll fact check that later. They have Antonio Gibson, or J.D. McKissick still. They have Brian Patterson, the rookie they just drafted. They refuse to buy into Antonio Gibson as their full lead back. And to be fair, Antonio Gibson isn't the best running back of all time. He's not injury prone, but he doesn't really play a full season. He didn't play a full season last year, I believe. If I'm wrong, yell at me. But overall, I just don't fully buy into this Washington offense. I don't really buy into him being the 20th best running back. Like I said, similar to the other situations or with Cam Akers, there's some that are below him, J.K. Dobbins, maybe Josh Jacobs, that I'd put above Gibson solely because I don't really buy into Washington. If the team doesn't have confidence in him, I don't have confidence in him, is basically all I'm saying. And my last one on this list, going to go for a bit of a reach here in terms of overrated because honestly at ADP of 93 it's not like you're going to be reaching for Chase Edmonds, but I know people will. People are just so set on finding the best running back in an offense, but the Dolphins have notoriously used a committee. I know it's a new coach and everything, but they normally don't really like to deviate from that. I can't remember the last time they used a true lead back, and they don't think so either. They have Raheem Mostert, they have Sony Michel. Those are 3 high-quality veteran running backs on one team, and I stay away from that. I will not draft a Miami running back. You can quote me if I do, but Chase Edmonds, even at this value, still feels like a little bit of a reach to me, just given the situation, and also just the team overall will probably be more pass-heavy now that they have Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, along with Mike Gesicki as well, and Cedric Wilson. It's a pretty decent offense they have cooking down there in Miami, and they'll definitely use their running game a lot. All 3 of the running backs they have now are better than whatever they had last year with Gaskin and Duke Johnson and whatever, but I feel like it's going to be on a week-by-week basis. What have you done for me this week kind of thing. If Sony Michel impresses in practice, they're going to go with him, and it's just so impossible for us to tell that I don't really believe in Edmonds at this ADP. So those are 5 overrated fantasy running backs I have this year. If you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe. I'm going to try to pump out a new one of these videos every single day, and I will see you guys next video.